The soft blue glow of scanning equipment lit up Dr. James Walker's tired face as he stared at his monitor. 3 years into deep space exploration, and most of the crew had settled into a routine of endless star mapping and mineral surveys. But James was different. Every new solar system made his heart beat faster with hope. "Another day, another empty system," muttered Tom from the next station over. "Just rocks and gas, same as always." James didn't respond. His eyes were fixed on an unusual reading that pulsed at the edge of their scan range. The energy signature didn't match anything in their database. It was neither natural radiation nor known artificial patterns. "Captain," James called out, his voice steady despite his excitement. "I'm picking up something strange in Sector 7. Captain Miller walked over, her boots making soft thuds against the metal floor. She leaned over James's shoulder, squinting at the readings. "Could be sensor interference." "No, Mayim. The pattern is too regular." James pointed to the wave patterns on his screen. "See how it pulses? Every 47 seconds, exactly. Nature doesn't work like that." The bridge fell silent. After 3 years of finding nothing but lifeless planets, even the possibility of artificial signals was enough to get everyone's attention. "Plot a course," the captain ordered after a moment's thought. "But we maintain safe distance. No risks." The research vessel, Earth's pride and joy with all its shining technology, changed direction. As they got closer, more readings started coming in. The signal was coming from a planet that shouldn't exist, a perfect sphere of metal and stone, clearly shaped by intelligent hands. "It's a construct," James breathed, looking at the detailed scans. "An artificial planet, at least 1,000,000 years old." The surface was covered in structures that reminded James of ancient temples, but built on a scale that made Earth's greatest monuments look like children's toys. And everything was dead. No power signatures except for that strange, pulsing beacon. "Picking up a large cavity under the surface," reported Tom. "Could be some kind of bunker or vault." "Any signs of what happened to the builders?" the captain asked. James shook his head. "No obvious damage, no signs of war or natural disaster. They just left." After days of careful scanning and debate, they decided to send down a small team. James was the obvious choice to lead it. He had been studying alien civilizations his whole life, even if they had never found any before. The landing craft touched down in a vast plaza surrounded by towering structures that seemed to pierce the sky. James's breath fogged his helmet as he took his first steps on the artificial world. Their lights cut through the darkness that had ruled this place for eons. "The signal's coming from below," James said, following his scanner. "There's an entrance this way." They found a passage that led deep underground. The walls were covered in writing and images that their computers couldn't decode. James recorded everything, knowing it would take years to understand even a fraction of what they were seeing. The passage ended at a massive door, easily 50 meters tall. In its center was a simple control panel that still hummed with power after all these years. "We should wait for more analysis," said Mike, the security officer. But James was already moving forward. "The builders wanted someone to find this," he said, studying the panel. "Look at how they laid out the path, how they kept power to this one system. They were leaving something for us to find." His hand hovered over the panel. Years of training told him to be cautious, to run more tests. But something deeper, something uniquely human, told him to trust his instinct. He pressed the control. The door opened with a sound like a mountain yawning. Cold air rushed past them, and their lights fell on something that made them all step back. Suspended in a field of energy was a creature that defied description. It was huge, easily the size of their landing craft. Its body seemed to be made of living shadow, with edges that weren't quite solid. Patterns of light played across its surface like stars in the night sky. "My God," whispered Mike. "What is it?" James stepped forward, drawn by an inexplicable feeling. The creature was in some kind of stasis, but he could have sworn he saw it react to their presence. As he got closer, he noticed more details. The way its form suggested both predator and protector, how its suspended position seemed almost peaceful. "It's not a weapon or a monster," James said softly. "It's waiting for something. Or someone." The discovery would change everything. But in that moment, standing before the ancient creature, James felt something that would prove even more important. A connection he couldn't explain. A sense that he was exactly where he needed to be. He didn't know it yet, but he had just started a chain of events that would reshape humanity's place in the galaxy. The stasis field flickered. No one moved. The massive creature suspended within started to shift, its shadow-like form rippling like dark water. Warning alarms blared through the ancient chamber. "Everyone out. Now." Captain Miller's voice crackled through their comms. The security team raised their weapons, backing toward the exit. But James stood his ground. "Wake," he said, raising his hand. "Look at its movements. They're not aggressive." The creature's form continued to change, becoming more solid. Its body was like polished obsidian now, reflecting their suit lights. What they had first thought were stars across its surface were actually patterns of bioluminescence, pulsing in complex sequences. "Dr. Walker, I'm ordering you to retreat," the captain said firmly. Before James could respond, the stasis field collapsed completely. The creature dropped to the floor with surprising grace for its massive size. Its movement was like flowing water, smooth and controlled. The security team's fingers tightened on their triggers. But James took a step forward instead of back. The creature turned toward him. Its head was shaped like that of an ancient earth dragon, but with no clear eyes or mouth. Just smooth black surface, and those dancing lights. It lowered its head to James's level, bringing it just meters away from him. "Hello," James said simply, his heart pounding but his voice steady. "I'm James. We found your signal." The creature's lights changed pattern, forming complex shapes that reminded James of written language. Then, something unexpected happened. A soft voice echoed in his mind. "After so long, someone worthy finally came." The security team gasped. They had all heard it too, not with their ears, but directly in their thoughts. "You can communicate telepathically," James said, fascination overwhelming his fear. "The ancient records we found called your kind world enders. But that's not right, is it?" The creature's lights pulsed gently. "A name given by those who feared what they did not understand. We were called shadow hunters by our creators. We were meant to protect, not destroy." "Stand down weapons," James called to the security team. "It's not hostile." He turned back to the creature. "You've been in stasis for a very long time. Why?" "Waiting. Watching." The galaxy was young. Species were primitive. We were too powerful to interact with them safely. My kind entered stasis, waiting for races mature enough to understand us. The creature's form shifted slightly. "You did not run. You did not attack. You spoke. You are different." Mike, the security officer, had lowered his weapon but still looked tense. "How do we know we can trust it?" The creature turned its head toward Mike. "Trust must be earned. I offer proof of my intentions." Its lights formed new patterns. "Your ship's sensors detect 3 vessels entering this system. Pirates, drawn by your energy signatures. They will arrive in 40 of your minutes." Captain Miller's voice came through their comms again. "Confirmed. 3 ships just dropped out of FTL at the system's edge. Unknown configuration, not responding to hails." James looked up at the massive creature. "Will you help us?" "I will. But first, you must decide what to call me. Names are important to your kind, yes." James studied the way the creature's surface rippled and shifted like storm clouds in the night sky. "How about Storm?" "Simple, but it fits you." The lights on Storm's surface pulsed in what James somehow knew was amusement. "Acceptable. Now, we must hurry. These pirates have come to steal and destroy. They must learn that this system is protected once again. How can we work together?" James asked. "We don't have much time." "There is a way," Storm replied, "but it requires trust. Great trust. I can form a temporary neural link with one of you. Share knowledge, coordinate actions. It is not painful, but it is intimate. Few species are ready for such connection." Everyone turned to look at James. He stood straighter, understanding the weight of the moment. Everything he'd studied, every theory about alien contact, told him to be cautious. But his instincts told him something else. "I volunteer," he said firmly. Storm's lights rippled. "You understand this has never been done with your species. There are unknowns." "Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith," James replied, "especially when pirates are on the way." The creature moved closer, its massive form casting shadows that seemed to move on their own. "Then let us show the galaxy what humans and Shadowhunters can do together." As Storm's consciousness reached out to his, James realized that this was more than first contact. This was the beginning of something that would change everything. Humanity's first real test in the galaxy was about to begin. The neural link felt like diving into a warm ocean at night. James's mind floated in darkness at first, then exploded with color and memory. 1,000 years of history flowed through his thoughts in seconds. He saw the truth of the Shadowhunters. They weren't monsters created for war. They were guardians, born from the dreams of an ancient race that had seen too much death. The Shadowhunters were made to protect life, not end it. Their fearsome appearance was meant to warn away threats without the need for violence. So much sadness, James thought as he experienced Storm's memories. So many years alone. Yes, Storm's thoughts merged with his own. We were made to guard the younger races, but some feared us, called us monsters, world enders. The truth was lost. Through their connection, James felt Storm's deep loneliness. For thousands of years, the great creature had slept, waking briefly every century to check if any species had grown enough to understand. Time and again, Storm found only fear and violence. "But you were different," Storm's thought echoed in his mind. "You saw past fear to seek understanding." James suddenly understood why Storm had chosen him. In all those years of watching, no other being had simply tried to talk first. Their shared consciousness was interrupted by Captain Miller's voice over the comm. "Dr. Walker, the pirate ships are getting closer. Are you okay in there?" James opened his eyes, not realizing he had closed them. The neural link settled into something more comfortable, like a quiet conversation in his mind rather than a flood of memories. "I'm fine, Captain," he replied. "Better than fine. I understand now." He turned to the rest of the team. Storm's people were peacekeepers. They protected developing civilizations from threats. Like these pirates. Storm's massive form shifted, the patterns of light across its surface forming complex designs. "Through James, I can now understand your language, your technology. The pirates' ships are old Kraxan raiders, dangerous but predictable." Kraxan raiders, Mike asked, his grip tightening on his weapon. "A species that turned to piracy centuries ago," Storm explained. "They seek advanced technology to steal. They must have detected the energy signature from my stasis chamber." Through their link, James felt Storm's tactical knowledge flow into his mind. He understood complex battle strategies that had been perfected over millennia. "Captain," James called over the comm, "I have a plan, but you'll need to trust both of us." There was a long pause before Captain Miller responded. "After everything we've seen today, well, trust seems to be working so far. What's the plan?" James smiled. "The pirates think they're coming to raid ancient ruins. Let's show them this planet still has a guardian." Through their mental link, Storm shared James's amusement. "Yes, it has been too long since I fulfilled my purpose, but I will need your help, James. Your human creativity combined with my strength. Together, we can protect this place." The security team watched in amazement as Storm's huge form began to shift and change. The creature's body stretched and reformed, creating what looked like armor plates and strange organic technology. The Shadowhunters were made to adapt, James explained, understanding flowing through the neural link. Storm can change form to match any challenge, and with our minds linked, we can coordinate perfectly. Captain Miller's voice came through again. The pirate ships will be in weapons range in 10 minutes. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. James walked closer to Storm, placing his hand on the creature's smooth surface. The light patterns swirled around his touch. Ready to show the galaxy what happens when humans and Shadowhunters work together? He asked. Storm's form rippled with anticipation. Ready, friend James. Let us teach these raiders why this sector of space is no longer unprotected. The rest of the team watched in awe as Storm's body continued to transform, creating what looked like a combination of organic technology and living shadow. Through their mental link, James could feel the joy Storm experienced at finally having a purpose again, a friend to work with. The time for hiding was over. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had made a powerful ally, and that sometimes the most frightening appearances could hide the noblest hearts. The pirates were in for quite a surprise. The pirate ships emerged from the dark like hungry wolves. 3 vessels, their hulls scared and patched, bristling with stolen weapons. They took up attack positions around the research vessel, their intentions clear. Inside the ancient chamber, James and Storm watched the tactical display through their shared consciousness. The neural link let them process information faster than any normal human could. Incoming transmission, Captain Miller reported. They're demanding we surrender the facility and any artifacts we found. Through their mental connection, Storm shared knowledge about the raiders. Kraxan pirates never take prisoners. They will destroy your ship once they have what they want. The lead pirate ship fired a warning shot that shook the research vessel. A rough voice crackled through their communications. You have 1 minute to drop your shields and prepare for boarding. After that, we start shooting holes in your pretty ship. James felt Storm's anger through their link. Not hot rage, but a cool determination to protect. The Shadowhunter's form had finished its transformation, now looking like a perfect blend of organic armor and flowing shadow. Ready? James asked through their link. Yes, Storm replied. But you must understand, what we are about to do has never been attempted with a human before. The neural link will become much stronger during combat. The experience will be intense. James smiled. Sometimes the craziest plans are the best ones. Captain, he called over the comm, when I give the signal, drop the shields for exactly 2 seconds. You want me to boha? Captain Miller's voice was sharp with disbelief. Trust me, Captain. Storm and I have a plan. He turned to the security team. Everyone clear the chamber. What's about to happen next might look a little strange. Through their link, Storm's form began to shift again. Its massive body flowed like liquid shadow, wrapping around James in a protective cocoon. For a moment, James felt a flash of panic as darkness enveloped him. Do not fear. Storm's thought touched his mind. This is the deepest form of our partnership. Together, we become something new. The darkness cleared from James's vision, but he wasn't seeing through his own eyes anymore. He was seeing through Storm's senses, experiencing the world in entirely new ways. He could feel energy fields, detect movement through the smallest vibrations, see in spectrums he never knew existed. His consciousness merged further with Storm's, and their combined form grew larger, stronger. James was still himself, but he was also part of something greater. Human intelligence and creativity merged with Shadowhunter power and knowledge. 30 seconds. The pirate's voice boomed through the comms. Choose quickly. Their combined form moved toward the chamber ceiling. Through their enhanced senses, they could feel the pirate ships above, taste their energy signatures in the void. Now, Captain. James and Storm spoke as one. Drop the shields. The shields flickered off. In that instant, Their combined form shot upward like a bullet of living shadow, breaking through the ancient facility's outer layer and into space. They moved faster than any human ship, their form adapting instantly to the vacuum. The pirates didn't even have time to react. 1 second they were preparing to board a helpless research vessel. The next, they were facing a creature out of legend, a massive shape of flowing darkness and living light, with a human mind at its core. This facility is protected. James and Storm's thoughts boomed directly into the pirates' minds. Their combined form grew even larger, now dwarfing even the largest pirate vessel. You have one chance to leave. There will not be another. Through their expanded awareness, they felt the pirates' fear and confusion. Their sensors couldn't make sense of what they were seeing. A creature that was both organic and energy, both human and alien. The pirate captain tried to sound brave. Open fire. Kill that thing. Energy weapons flashed out, but Storm's form simply absorbed them, the patterns of light across their surface growing brighter with each hit. James's human creativity combined with Storm's ancient knowledge created new ways to use this energy. Wrong choice. They thought together and began to show the pirates exactly why Shadowhunters had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most effective peacekeepers. The real battle was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn that humanity's first alliance was with its most feared legend. Space lit up with weapon fire as the pirates unleashed everything they had. Through their merged consciousness, James experienced combat in a way no human ever had before. Every movement was like dancing among the stars. Their combined form flowed around energy beams like water around stones. Your weapons cannot harm us, their shared voice echoed in the pirates' minds. But ours can stop you. James's human mind provided creativity, while Storm's ancient knowledge gave them power. Together, they were something entirely new. Their form shifted, creating shapes that defied physics. Tentacles of living shadow wrapped around the first pirate ship's engines, not destroying them, but shutting them down with precise application of force. Through their enhanced senses, they felt the crew's panic. What is this thing? One pirate screamed over their comm channel. It's not attacking like the legend said. World enders are supposed to destroy everything. We are not world enders. James and Storm responded together. We are protectors. But you will learn the difference. The second pirate ship tried to escape, its engines glowing hot with emergency power. Their combined forms split into streams of darkness that reformed in front of the fleeing vessel. James felt no strain or disorientation. In this merged state, physical laws worked differently. Back on the research vessel, the crew watched in awe through their view screens. Captain Miller stood silent, witnessing the birth of a new kind of peacekeeping force. The security team that had once pointed weapons at Storm now cheered as the combined being disabled another pirate ship. I've never seen anything like this, Mike whispered. They're not killing anyone. They're just stopping them. Inside the merged consciousness, James experienced more of Storm's memories. He saw countless battles where Shadowhunters had chosen to disable rather than destroy, to protect rather than punish. Their fearsome reputation had come from misunderstanding, from those who couldn't see past their appearance. Your kind is special, James. Storm's thoughts merged with his. Other species run or attack. Humans seek to understand. This is why you were worth waiting for. The lead pirate ship, now trapped between their shadow tendrils, made one last desperate move. It aimed its main guns at the research vessel, hoping to force their hand. Surrender, the pirate captain snarled, or we'll destroy your friends. But James and Storm were already moving. Their combined form created a shield of pure shadow energy between the pirates and the research vessel. When the pirates fired, their weapons had no effect. The shadow shield absorbed everything, turning the energy into beautiful patterns of light. Enough, they declared. Their form grew even larger, now completely surrounding all three pirate ships. You will face justice, but not through destruction. That is not our way. Using Storm's ancient technology and James's understanding of human containment methods, they created energy fields around each ship, fields that would hold until proper authorities arrived. Captain Miller, James's voice came through clearly on the research vessel's comm. You might want to send a message to Earth. Tell them we've made first contact, stopped a pirate raid, and, well, might have revolutionized peacekeeping in this sector of space. The captain's laugh came through the comm. I think this might be the best first contact in human history, Dr. Walker. Though I'm not sure how to explain your current condition in my report. Through their link, James felt Storm's amusement. The Shadowhunter had spent millennia waiting for a species worthy of alliance, and in less than a day, had found not just a partner, but a friend. Their combined forms slowly separated, returning James to the ancient chamber. As Storm's consciousness gently disconnected from his, James felt a lingering sense of connection. The neural link had changed them both. The galaxy will not be the same after this, Storm said, its form settling back into its natural state. Humans and Shadowhunters working together. Perhaps this is what my creators hoped for all along. James looked up at his new friend, still seeing echoes of their shared consciousness in Storm's light patterns. I think this is just the beginning. Wait until they hear about this back on Earth. The patterns of light across Storm's surface danced with agreement. The age of fear was over. The time of understanding had begun. News traveled fast across space. Within days, ships from various species began arriving at the edge of the system. Some came to verify the incredible reports, others to witness the impossible. A human and a Shadowhunter working together. James stood at the observation deck of the research vessel, watching as diplomatic ships took the captured pirates into custody. Storm floated beside him, its massive form somehow fitting perfectly in the space. They're still afraid of you, James said, noting how the other ships kept their distance, even after everything we showed them. Storm's surface rippled with patterns of light. Fear is an old habit for them. Change will take time, but you have already shown them a new way. Through their now permanent but subtle neural link, James felt Storm's satisfaction. The Shadowhunter had spent countless years waiting for this moment, when other species would finally understand their true purpose. Captain Miller entered the observation deck, holding a datapad. Earth Command finally sent their official response, she said, looking both amused and confused. They want to know if there are more Shadowhunters in stasis, and if they'd be willing to work with other humans. Storm's lights pulsed with interest. There are others, many others, waiting, as I waited, for species worthy of partnership. But they're asking for some kind of demonstration first, the captain continued. They want to see how this partnership works in a controlled setting. James smiled. I think we can arrange that. He turned to Storm, ready to show them what we can really do when we're prepared. The demonstration took place 3 days later. Ships from 20 different species gathered at a safe distance to watch. Even the most skeptical observers couldn't deny what they saw. James and Storm moved as one through space, their merged form creating patterns never seen before. They demonstrated not just their combat abilities, but their capacity for rescue operations, space construction, and even deep space exploration. The neural link let them operate as a single entity, combining human innovation with Shadowhunter power. Watch this, James said through their linked consciousness. Their combined forms split into multiple smaller units, each capable of independent action, but all connected through their shared mind. They created structures of living shadow, showed how they could safely move damaged ships, and demonstrated their ability to communicate across vast distances. The observers were stunned. This wasn't the mindless destroyer of legend. This was something entirely new. The Shadowhunters were never meant to be weapons. Their shared voice broadcast to all watching ships. We are guardians, teachers, partners. What you see today is just the beginning. Through their link, Storm shared memories of other Shadowhunters, still sleeping in hidden places across the galaxy, each one waiting for the right partner, the right moment to emerge. The demonstration ended with something no one expected. Their combined form created a display of light and shadow that told the true history of the Shadowhunters, not through words, but through images that spoke directly to the observers' minds. Everyone watching finally understood the truth that had been lost to time. Back on the research vessel, the crew gathered around James and Storm. The fear that had marked their first meeting was completely gone, replaced by respect and wonder. Earth Command has approved the formation of a new division, Captain Miller announced. The Human Shadowhunter Cooperative Force. They want you both to lead it, to find and wake the others, to create more partnerships. James felt Storm's joy through their link. After eons of waiting, their true purpose could finally be fulfilled. We accept, they said together. Mike, who had once pointed a weapon at Storm, stepped forward. How many humans will get the chance to partner with a Shadowhunter? Any who prove worthy, Storm answered. It is not about strength or skill. It is about understanding, trust, and the willingness to look past fear to find friendship. James looked up at his friend and partner. What had started as a routine exploration mission had turned into the beginning of a new age. Humanity's first steps into the galaxy had led them not to war or conquest, but to a partnership that would change everything. So, he said, ready to change the universe. Storm's surface lit up with patterns that James now recognized as laughter. With you, my friend, I am ready for anything. The future suddenly looked very bright indeed. 1 year later, the galaxy was a very different place. The ancient facility where James and Storm first met had become the headquarters of the Human Shadowhunter Cooperative Force. Ships of all species now came and went freely, no longer afraid of what they might find. James stood in the main control room, watching through the massive windows as another Shadowhunter emerged from stasis, its form gracefully stretching after millennia of sleep. Beside the ancient creature stood its new human partner, a young explorer named Rob who had shown the same understanding and trust that James had demonstrated a year ago. They're adapting well, Storm commented, its massive form comfortable beside James. Through their link, they shared a moment of pride. This was their 10th successful partnership. Did you ever imagine it would work out like this? James asked, watching as Rob and his Shadowhunter partner practiced their first merger in the space above the facility. Storm's surface rippled with thoughtful patterns. In all my years of waiting, I hoped for acceptance. But this is beyond what even my creators dreamed possible. The facility had changed dramatically. What was once a tomb-like structure was now alive with activity. Humans and aliens worked together, studying the ancient technology and learning from the awakened Shadowhunters. The old fear was being replaced by understanding and cooperation. Captain Miller, now Admiral Miller, entered the control room. The latest reports are in, she announced. Piracy in protected sectors is down 80%. Search and rescue success rates are up by 90%. And we've had requests from 15 more species wanting to join the partnership program. Through their permanent link, James felt Storm's satisfaction. Each success proved what the Shadowhunters had always known. They were meant to protect and serve, not destroy. There's something else, Admiral Miller added, smiling. The Galactic Council has officially recognized the Human Shadowhunter Cooperative Force as its primary peacekeeping authority. They want us to expand our operations to all sectors. James watched as Rob and his partner successfully completed their first combined flight. The sight still filled him with wonder. Human and Shadowhunter moving as one, their merged form dancing among the stars. We found something else in the ancient records, one of the researchers called from her station. It looks like the Shadowhunters' creators left a message, meant to be found only after successful partnerships were established. Everyone gathered around as the message played. A hologram appeared, showing beings of pure light, the ancient race that had created the Shadowhunters. If you are seeing this, the message began, then our greatest hope has been realized. The Shadowhunters have found worthy partners, ones who see past appearance to truth. We created them not as weapons, but as bridges, beings who could unite the galaxy through understanding and protection. Storm moved closer to James as they watched. Through their link, they shared the weight of this moment. To those who have partnered with our creations, the message continued. You have proved yourselves worthy of a legacy greater than we could have imagined. The future of the galaxy is in your hands now. Guide it well. The message faded, leaving the control room in thoughtful silence. They knew, James said softly. They knew someday someone would look past the fear and see the truth. Storm's lights pulsed gently. And humans were the first to do so. Your species' greatest strength is not your technology or your adaptability. It is your capacity to reach out in friendship, even to those others fear. Outside, more ships arrived. New human candidates coming to meet the recently awakened Shadowhunters. Each partnership would be unique, each bond special in its own way. Just as every human was different, every Shadowhunter had its own personality and strengths. The galaxy really has changed, Admiral Miller observed. And it all started because one scientist decided to talk to the monster instead of running from it. James smiled, reaching up to touch Storm's surface. The patterns of light swirled around his hand in familiar patterns. Not a monster, he corrected. A friend. Sometimes the scariest-looking things are just waiting for someone to understand them. Through their link, Storm shared an image of the future. A galaxy united not by fear, but by cooperation and understanding. A future that had started with one simple choice. The choice to trust. The story of the human who befriended the galaxy's most lethal predator had become legend. But more importantly, it had become hope. Proof that understanding could overcome fear, and that true strength lay not in power, but in partnership. The end.